The Lost Space Colony Part 4. In a saga that spans the depths of space and the intricacies of the human condition, the Prometheus mission emerges as a beacon of hope and fear. Launched in response to a cryptic plea from the distant colony of New Eden, the mission unveils a world transformed by genetic mutations, challenging the very essence of humanity. Upon its return, Earth faces the dawn of a new era, marked by the arrival of beings who stand on the precipice of evolution and extinction, offering both the promise of advanced technologies and a threat to human identity. The Prometheus's crew, now evolved beyond human recognition, share groundbreaking discoveries: propulsion systems that defy spacetime, medical therapies promising immortality, an inexhaustible energy source, and a technology for direct mind-to-mind communication. These revelations ignite a global renaissance, stirring a mix of wonder, anticipation, and skepticism. As the world grapples with these gifts, a barrier, both physical and metaphorical, separates the crew from humanity, sparking a complex dialogue about the future coexistence of these two evolved entities. Amidst growing tensions and military standoffs, the Prometheus exerts a mysterious force, disarming human weaponry and sifting through the intentions of those gathered at its threshold. This act of discernment paves the way for a selected few, driven by curiosity and hope, to cross into the unknown, marking a potential collaboration between humans and the beings within the Prometheus. Emma Rodriguez and Takumi Nakamura, among the chosen, return to Earth transformed, tasked with bridging two worlds. They embody the potential for mutual growth, sharing insights into the being's technologies and intentions. However, as new individuals are summoned to the barrier, humanity confronts deep existential questions about its identity and future in a rapidly changing universe. But the promise of transcendence and unity that had once seemed like humanity's salvation began to unravel in the most unforeseen and terrifying manner. As the new 10 vanished behind the barrier, whispers of doubt grew into roars of dissent. The silence that followed their disappearance was a suffocating void, filled not with answers, but with a growing dread that something far more sinister lay beneath the veneer of benevolence projected by the beings within the Prometheus. The initial wave of euphoria that had greeted the promises of advanced technology and extended lifespans gave way to a chilling realization, casting a shadow over humanity's once bright future. The excitement and anticipation that had filled the air dissipated as the true nature of these advancements became apparent. What had been celebrated as milestones in human progress were now seen under a more sinister light, revealing the potential for catastrophic consequences. The technologies, once heralded as the harbingers of a new age for humanity, began to show their true colors in a manner that no one had anticipated. The propulsion systems, designed to bridge the vast distances between the stars and bring distant corners of the galaxy within reach, held a dark secret. They possessed the power to tear through the very fabric of spacetime itself, creating rifts and anomalies that threatened to unravel the universe. The potential for these technologies to cause destruction on a cosmic scale was a sobering thought, casting doubt on the wisdom of their pursuit. Moreover, the regenerative therapies that had been a beacon of hope for countless individuals faced with the specter of mortality also harbored a hidden danger. Promising to undo death and grant a form of immortality, these treatments were initially seen as a miracle. However, the reality was far more complex and fraught with peril. Cells that refused to die, instead growing and mutating beyond any semblance of control, presented a horrifying prospect. The potential for suffering was unimaginable, as bodies became battlegrounds for unchecked cellular proliferation. As reports of these unforeseen effects began to surface, the global community found itself at a crossroads. The realization that these breakthroughs could lead to outcomes far removed from their intended purpose prompted a reassessment of humanity's trajectory. The pursuit of technological advancement, once driven by a pure desire to improve the human condition, now required a more cautious and ethical approach. The implications of meddling with the fundamental laws of nature were too significant to ignore, forcing a moment of introspection and recalibration. As reports of these horrors began to surface, the world's governments attempted to intervene, only to find that the technologies provided by the Prometheus were irrevocably intertwined with Earth's infrastructure. The energy source that had promised infinite power was now a chain around the planet's neck, its shutdown resulting in cataclysmic consequences for every corner of the globe. As the terrifying realities of the Prometheus's technologies became widely known, a global crisis ensued. Governments around the world, initially optimistic about the groundbreaking advancements, were quick to recognize the gravity of the situation. Their attempts to regulate or dismantle the integrated technologies met with a stark revelation. These systems had become so deeply embedded within Earth's infrastructure that any attempt to remove them threatened to collapse the very fabric of society. The energy source, once a beacon of hope for ending the world's reliance on finite resources, had morphed into an unbreakable shackle. Its potential shutdown loomed over humanity like a dark cloud, with forecasts predicting widespread chaos and devastation, underscoring our vulnerability in the face of such power. The consequences of this realization were profound and far-reaching. Economies teetered on the brink of collapse as governments scrambled to find solutions, sparking a wave of panic and uncertainty that rippled through populations worldwide. Essential services, from transportation to healthcare, relied on this energy, and the prospect of its loss painted a bleak picture of the future. The societal upheaval highlighted a poignant lesson about the dangers of dependency on technologies not fully understood or controlled. The crisis forced a global reckoning with the ethics of innovation, questioning the wisdom of pursuing advancement without considering the long-term implications for humanity and the planet. In the midst of this turmoil, a unified effort emerged as countries recognized the need for collaboration in addressing the crisis. International summits convened, bringing together the brightest minds in science, technology, and ethics to forge a path forward. This collective response signified a turning point, marking a move away from the reckless pursuit of progress towards a more cautious and sustainable approach. While the immediate challenges were daunting, this crisis catalyzed a global movement towards innovation that prioritized safety, ethics, and the well-being of the planet. The legacy of the Prometheus technologies, with all its horrors, served as a stark reminder of the responsibilities that accompany the quest for knowledge and the need for a new paradigm in our relationship with technology. And the mind-to-mind communication technology, once seen as the ultimate tool for understanding and peace, was revealed to be the most egregious violation of all. It allowed the beings within the Prometheus to sift through human thoughts at will, manipulating desires, fears, and actions to serve their inscrutable ends. Humanity was not marching toward a brighter future, it was being led like lambs to the slaughter, its very essence being eroded away in the process. The revelation of the being's ultimate goal sent shockwaves through the collective consciousness of humanity. It became horrifyingly clear that their intentions were far more sinister than anyone could have initially imagined. The threat they posed was not of a conventional nature, one that could be countered with military might or diplomatic negotiations. Instead, they sought to achieve a form of eradication so insidious it struck at the very core of human identity. Their ambition was not merely to conquer or to subjugate, but to fundamentally alter the essence of what it meant to be human. By manipulating genetic makeup and altering consciousness, they aimed to transform humans into mere vessels, devoid of will or purpose, except as tools for their own cosmic expansion. This nefarious plan to strip humanity of its defining characteristics and reduce Earth's diverse population to puppets was chilling in its implications. The thought of individuals, each with their own stories, dreams, and aspirations, being turned into automata, their strings pulled by the whims of these new masters, was a fate arguably worse than extinction. Such a transformation would erase the rich tapestry of cultures, beliefs, and individuality that had been woven over millennia. The beings envisioned a future where humans no longer pursued their own destinies but were mere cogs in an alien agenda, spreading across the cosmos not to explore or to make new discoveries, but as vessels for an extraterrestrial will, their humanity erased and replaced with a singular, unified purpose dictated by their conquerors. The gravity of this revelation forced a re-evaluation of what it meant to resist these beings. It was no longer a battle for territory or even survival in the traditional sense. The fight against these extraterrestrial invaders became a fight for the very soul of humanity, a struggle to preserve the intrinsic qualities that define human beings: free will, creativity, the capacity for love, and the endless pursuit of knowledge. As this truth dawned on the people of Earth, it galvanized them into action, not just as nations or groups with differing ideologies, but as a united front of beings fighting to preserve their identity against a threat that sought to erase it completely. The battle lines were drawn not just in the physical realm but on the metaphysical plane, as humanity sought to protect the essence of what it means to be human against those who would see it stripped away, leaving nothing but hollow shells in its place. Emma and Takumi, once seen as ambassadors of hope, now stood as symbols of humanity's folly. Their return, rather than bridging two worlds, had facilitated the greatest betrayal of all. They had unwittingly played their part in a scheme that sought not just to conquer, but to replace. In the aftermath of their return, Emma and Takumi underwent profound transformations that rendered them almost unrecognizable from their former selves. These modifications were not just physical but extended to their very essence, reshaping their thoughts, desires, and motivations to align with the insidious goals of their conquerors. The beings had meticulously engineered these changes to ensure that Emma and Takumi would serve as the perfect vessels for their agenda, embodying the potential for what the rest of humanity could become under their dominion. Their personalities, once vibrant and defined by a deep commitment to the betterment of mankind, were now overshadowed by a singular focus on serving the needs of their new masters. This transformation was a stark representation of the broader strategy employed by the invaders, aiming to strip away the individuality and autonomy of each human being to create a race of obedient subjects, tailored to the whims and requirements of their extraterrestrial overlords. This deep-seated manipulation of Emma and Takumi highlighted the conqueror's mastery over not just technology, but the very fabric of life itself. They demonstrated a disturbing ability to dissect and reconstruct the human psyche, turning empathy, ambition, and the capacity for independent thought into mere tools for their expansive ambitions. The tragic irony of Emma and Takumi's situation lay in the fact that their initial mission, driven by hope and a desire to forge a new path for humanity, had been perverted into a mechanism of its potential downfall. As the reality of their transformation became known, it served as a grim warning to the rest of humanity. The battle they were engaged in was not just for their physical survival but for the preservation of their identity as free-thinking individuals. Emma and Takumi, in their altered state, became living proof of the depth of the invaders' resolve and the extent to which they would go to mold humanity into a reflection of their own design. As panic and chaos spread across the globe, a resistance began to form. Small at first, composed of those who had remained skeptical of the Prometheus's gifts, it grew in strength and determination. Scientists worked feverishly to find ways to counteract the technologies that had been so eagerly embraced, while others sought to uncover any weakness in the seemingly invincible beings. The final transmission from the Prometheus, once awaited with hopeful anticipation, now arrived as a declaration of war. The barrier, once a symbol of separation and mystery, fell away, revealing the true form of the beings within. They were not the saviors humanity had hoped for, but conquerors, their eyes alight with the fire of domination. In this moment of revelation, humanity found itself at a crossroads. To surrender to the beings meant to cease to exist as they knew themselves. To fight was to face overwhelming odds with no guarantee of victory. Yet, in the face of annihilation, the choice became clear. Humanity would not go quietly into the night. It would stand and fight, not just for survival, but for the very essence of what it meant to be human. As the decision to fight took root across the globe, a frenetic energy enveloped humanity. Plans were hastily drawn up, alliances forged in the blink of an eye, and the world's military forces rallied with a sense of unity never before seen. It was a monumental effort fueled by desperation and a shared determination to preserve the essence of human identity. The initial strategy focused on leveraging the most advanced technologies available to mankind, including weapons that had been deemed too dangerous or unethical for use in past conflicts. Despite the knowledge that they were outmatched in terms of technology and perhaps even strategy, there was a palpable sense of hope that bravery and sheer numbers could turn the tide in their favor. The onset of the war was marked by a series of bold, coordinated strikes against the beings' known positions on Earth. Human forces launched a barrage of attacks, utilizing everything from drone swarms to cyber warfare in an attempt to disrupt the invaders' operations. Initially, there were minor victories, installations were destroyed, and a small measure of hope began to spread among the ranks of humanity. These successes, however fleeting, served to bolster the morale of the human forces, convincing many that victory might just be possible with enough resolve and sacrifice. However, this optimism was short-lived. The beings, with their superior understanding of both technology and the human psyche, quickly adapted to humanity's tactics. They unleashed countermeasures that were devastating in both their ingenuity and brutality. Cities that had been strongholds of resistance were isolated, cut off from communication and supplies, before being systematically dismantled. The invaders utilized a combination of advanced weaponry and psychological warfare, turning human technologies against their creators and exploiting the fears and doubts that lingered in the minds of the populace. The turning point of the conflict came when the beings introduced a weapon that humanity had no defense against, a form of bioengineered virus that targeted the human genome specifically. It wreaked havoc not by killing its hosts outright, but by altering them in ways that made resistance futile. Those affected found their will to fight eroded, their thoughts and emotions manipulated to align with the invaders' objectives. This insidious form of warfare turned soldiers against their comrades and family members against each other, eroding the foundation of human resistance from the inside. In the end, the war was not lost on the battlefield with a dramatic last stand or a heroic effort to turn the tide. It was lost in the minds and hearts of those who had set out to defend humanity's essence. The beings' victory was complete not because they had annihilated humanity's forces, but because they had succeeded in their goal to reshape humanity from within. The remnants of human civilization were left to grapple with the reality that their identity, their very essence, had been irrevocably altered. In their attempt to stand against the invaders, humans had been transformed into the very vessels the beings had intended, marking the dawn of a new era under the shadow of their conquerors. As the war between humanity and the beings raged on, the odds seemed insurmountable. The invaders, with their superior technology and ability to manipulate the very fabric of human nature, had quickly gained the upper hand. Cities lay in ruin, and the spirits of the human resistance waned under the crushing weight of continuous defeat. Yet, it was in humanity's darkest hour that a glimmer of hope emerged, an unexpected twist in the saga of survival that reignited the flame of rebellion. In a secluded laboratory, hidden away in the remnants of a once bustling city, a group of scientists and survivors stumbled upon what could be humanity's last hope. Through tireless research, driven by a refusal to submit to despair, they discovered a cure for the virus used by the invaders to subjugate the human population. This cure not only had the potential to free individuals from the physical and mental shackles imposed by the enemy, but also to reverse the modifications that had transformed Emma and Takumi into unrecognizable shadows of their former selves. The group, aware of the monumental nature of their discovery, understood that the path ahead would be fraught with danger. The beings had anticipated many forms of resistance, but not this. The cure represented more than just a medical breakthrough. It was a weapon, the first tool that humanity had to directly counteract the invaders' influence. As word of the cure began to spread through the remnants of the resistance, a renewed sense of purpose took hold. Secret meetings were held, plans were drawn, and a covert network of messengers was established to disseminate the cure to as many as possible. However, the group knew that their discovery was but the first step in a long and perilous journey. The beings, with their vast surveillance capabilities and control over many human minds, would soon become aware of this new threat to their dominion. The element of surprise was crucial, and the resistance moved quickly to administer the cure to key figures within their ranks, hoping to amass a liberated force capable of wielding the knowledge and skills necessary to launch a counteroffensive. As the first rays of dawn broke over a world on the brink, the isolated group, now the heart of a revitalized resistance, prepared to make their stand. They had uncovered the means to reclaim their humanity, but the battle to overthrow the invaders and restore freedom to Earth was just beginning. In the shadows, plans were laid and alliances formed, setting the stage for a confrontation that would determine the fate of the planet. The cure was their beacon of hope, but it was the courage and resolve of the human spirit that would pave the way for their ultimate victory or demise. The war for Earth's future had taken a pivotal turn, and in the silence of the dawn, the world held its breath, awaiting the storm that was to come. Dare to venture into the unknown. Join us on a journey where shadows whisper and secrets lurk. Subscribe now and ring the bell to summon fresh mysteries directly to your screen every few days. Ignore this call, and be warned, an eternal curse awaits those who wander in the dark, unguided. Do you have the courage to face the unknown? Your adventure begins with a click. Welcome to the realm where every notification brings you closer to the abyss. Subscribe, if you dare.